Psalm, amen, in particular 139 Psalm, 139th division of Psalm. If you don't have a Bible, of course, there's Bibles in the pews that you can take advantage of, grab one so you can take a look at God's Word for yourself as we look at Psalm 139. In this 139th division, we're going to focus on just one stanza in particular. And that stanza is going to be stanza 14. So if you would, once you found it, say amen. Amen. If you're still looking, say wait a minute. Amen. We'll wait a minute for those who need a few extra moments. We'll give that to you. Of course, you can use the table of contents as well as Amen. 139th Psalm. If you would be so kind to stand on your feet as we reverence the Word of God in both my reading and in your hearing. Once again, I want to extract just one stanza from this division. And that stanza is stanza 14. And here's how the Word of God reads. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows very well. Let me read it again for you if you don't mind. I will praise you. Let the church say, I will praise you. For I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I want to use a topic for this text this morning, if you don't mind. I just want to simply remind you today that you look marvelous.
Amen.
All right.
So before you take your seat, you ought to pat yourself on the chest and say, I look marvelous. And you ought to be so kind to look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, you look marvelous. Amen. You may be seated in the presence of our Lord and Savior and King. You look marvelous.
It works, it works.
All throughout this nation, all throughout the world even for that matter, we have discovered that there is a very large percentage of individuals who don't feel good about themselves. Yeah. Bless you. That's a sad reality. That no matter what country, no matter on what end of the earth you find yourself, no matter what region, no matter what culture, no matter what nationality or ethnic group, there inevitably is a percentage of individuals, a large percentage of individuals who don't feel good about themselves.
Right.
To make that point even more so true is if we just pay attention to Wall Street, pay attention to Main Street, we'll see that when it comes to self-improvement or enhancement or alterations, let's just put it in a category such as that, it has become a multi-billion-dollar industry. People who are dissatisfied with the length and or even the texture of their hair. They'll go out and change the whole context of their hair. If it's too short, they'll make it longer. If it's too long, they'll make it shorter. If it's not the right color, they'll dye it. If it's not the right texture, they'll go and change that altogether. For those who are dissatisfied and unhappy with the skin they are in. If it's too light, they'll darken it. If it's too dark, they'll try to lighten it. If it's not the right texture and or context, they'll change and alter that. They change the size of their nose, make it bigger or make it smaller, make it more narrow, make it more pointy. They change the color of their eyes, change the way they look overall. There are those who feel as though they are too large, so they go on these kicks to become smaller. For those who are too small, they want to be a little bit bigger. For those that are too short, those that are too tall. I mean, people are changing the way they look in their entire context because so many people are not happy with themselves. There's some body parts that they will enlarge and enhance. Some body parts that they will go and have reduced because they want it to be smaller. There's nothing, I'm not here with prohibition against any of those things. That's what you decide to do, that's between you and your Creator. But I'm just pointing out the obvious, that there are so many people that are so dissatisfied with themselves and so unhappy with themselves that they spend large amounts of money and resources to go and change their entire appearance. And what I've discovered is that many of those that have gone to great lengths to do just what I've described, many of them, after making all those changes, still find themselves not happy with themselves and not satisfied. I've heard folk that have gone through all of these changes and transformations, and at the end of the day said, I'm still not happy. Now I'm too small, so I need to add some more weight back. Or getting too large and too thick. Those who were small for all their lives or a good portion of their lives, now all of a sudden they want to add a little bit more weight. They want to be a little bit more thicker. And so they go back and forth because they're never satisfied with the final product. Mm-hmm. And then there are those who get addicted to it. You know, whether it's Botox or whatever the case may be, one change leads to another change, which leads to another change, which leads to another change. Before you have all these alterations, what am I saying to you, my brothers and my sisters? Is that people overall seem to be, large in part, unhappy and dissatisfied with themselves. But I've stopped by on my way to heaven to tell someone who perhaps may fall in this category, or at some point in time you have felt this way, though it has not become an addiction for you, or as you have not become caught up in it to the point that you have become depressed and saddened by it, what have you. But I did stop on the way to have to tell someone, to remind someone that God has made you in His image and likeness. Amen. And however He has made you, we ought to learn to be happy and satisfied with who we are. Amen. Now, there's nothing wrong with you, wanting to make certain that you look your best. Nothing wrong with that at all. First Lady and I were having a conversation the other day. Don't quite know how this is going to pan out. I wasn't going to make this statement. And I probably should have thought through before I start talking, but now I've already started talking, so I got to pull the trigger now. She's looking at me quite strangely, and I'm trying to figure out how do I transition to something different. But I can't, so here it is. But anyway, she and I were having a conversation about her exercise regimen and how she has been working at maintaining, a certain size and what have you. She's done a great job. Wonderful job. And how she carries herself and how she presents herself. I mean, she's done an excellent job of being faithful and consistent with her exercise regimen and eating and such. And so she was sharing with me, that she was kind of unhappy with her size and says, I just can't seem to get, past this particular mark. I lose weight, but I can't get any further than this particular weight, so on and so forth. And I, being the smart, wise husband that I am, Brother Starks, I looked at her and I said, you know what? I said, you're fine just the way you are. I said, I think your approach is the wrong approach. You're doing all the right things. You're working out with your personal trainer. You're faithful and going even when your body is hurting and what have you. And you do a pretty good job of eating and stuff like that. I said, I think perhaps your approach is the wrong approach. And she says, why do you say that? I said, well, have you ever thought that perhaps your structure is just your structure? And so maybe you ought not focus on trying to become smaller as much or lighter or lose weight significantly or whatever. Maybe, I'm skating, man. I'm trying to make this clear. I said, said so many people, you know, they focus on the size and all of that. There's nothing wrong. You don't want to be sloppy, you want to be presentable and what have you. I said, but really it ought to be about being healthy and being happy. And so as I shared that information with her, I want to share that same information with you. At the end of the day, focus on being healthy and focus on being happy with who you are.
Yeah.
For some of us, our body structure is just the way that it is. So you're gonna be a certain size. Your body frame is such that you're gonna be a certain size. And I've seen people that have gotten so small that it doesn't even look right on them. They look a lot better. I mean, I think everybody in here can attest that Luther looked a lot better, larger size. I mean, that's just me. I ain't mad at Luther. That was Luther's decision to make and what have you. And he decided to be smaller or however that happened. I ain't knocking him. All I'm just saying is Luther, he just kind of looked a little bit better, you know, larger. Someone like Gerald Levert. Can you imagine Gerald Levert being Randall's frame? No. Gerald Levert is known as that singing teddy bear. Amen. You ain't seen no skinny teddy bear. So it's just certain body frames that just better positioned to be, you know, what they are. So at the end of the day, you are fine just the way you are.
Amen.
Amen.
Focus on being healthy and focus on being happy within yourself. It ought not be a change and alteration to make somebody else or to please someone else. Amen. You want to look your best so you can honor God, so you can be in good shape and good health. But don't do it for other people, because you start doing it for other people, and then before you know it, they ain't happy with what the end results are, and now you're unhappy because you did it for them, and they ain't happy with the results, and now you got a situation on hand. And you find yourself going through this, through these motions of continually changing, and just be happy with who you are and be healthy. And you find yourself going and making all these changes and alterations for someone else, and then they decide, I don't want you no more.
Come on.
I was watching a movie last night, and a movie a few years ago, and the young lady in the movie, her love interest, she decided she was going to switch things up. He happened to love and like long hair, and she had long hair. And she decided one day she was going to switch it up, and she was going to give him short hair because she wanted to look like Halle Berry. And she did this, went through all these changes, and guess what? He didn't like the short hair. Don't change who you are merely to please somebody else, to the extent and to the point that you find yourself displeased at the end of the day. Are y'all hearing me on today?
Come on. Come on.
So my brothers and my sisters, let me hurry to an end. That when I begin to think about this scenario that I just presented, I begin to think about the countless number of people who are unhappy, dissatisfied, and so on and so forth. And I thought about this passage that I've read to you today from the book of Psalms, where the psalmist makes this declaration. He says, I will praise you. Talking about God here. Why will he praise you? He says, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Those two Hebrew words gives us greater insight and appreciation for what is being said here. Because if you look at the first word, fearfully, let the church say fearfully. That Hebrew word for fearfully used here is referring to, watch this, reverence and respect. So remember, the psalmist is talking to God and talking about God. So in him talking to and about God, what he is saying is, God, I will praise you.
Yeah.
Why? I will do so because I am fearfully. I have respect and high regard for you.
Yeah.
This is very important, my brothers and my sisters, because when it comes to how we look at ourselves in our external selves, it has a lot to do with how we look at our internal selves.
Yes, sir.
Are y'all hearing me on today?
Yes, sir.
When we evaluate and look at ourselves externally, what has more value and helps you to have greater appreciation for what you see externally in the mirror and your reflection is when you have the capacity and the ability to tap in and turn in and look internally. And when you look at yourself internally, you understand that is God's hand is all over you. Yes, it is. God's hand is all over you. And his hand is all over you because God is the one that has created you. And so the psalmist says, because of that, I have the ability to look up at God and see who God is and see what God has done and see what God is capable of. And for that, I have high regard and respect for God. I have that. He says, watch this, but not only am I fearfully, he says, I am wonderfully made. Now that Hebrew word there, what that means is, I have been made uniquely. God has made me a unique individual. I am special. Oh, that right there, I'm making a shout. That ought to make you feel good when you are reminded of the fact that guess what? You're special.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about that special, amen. Someone's trying to be funny and say, you're real special. No, I'm talking about you're special. Why are you special? Because we are a royal priesthood.
Come on.
And we are, uniquely made in fashion. We are, watch this, made in the image and likeness of God. The Bible tells us in Genesis, the first chapter, 26 and 27 verse, it reminds us that we are made in the image and likeness of God, and he uniquely made us male and female and gave us our assignments. What am I saying to you today, my brothers and my sisters? I'm saying this, that the external has a lot to do with the internal. When we look internally, we see that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. So we ought to have a high regard and respect for God because of who he is, what he has done, and what he can do. Watch this. And because he has uniquely made us. There's no one in here that is an exact replica of anyone else.
Come on.
Now some of y'all may try to challenge me and say, well, Pastor, what about twins? What about triplets and so on? Even though you may look just like someone else as relates to twins, triplets, quadruplets, whatever the case may be, guess what? You still are uniquely made.
Right.
Come on.
If you were to take your finger and put it in some type of ore or powder or what have you that captured your fingerprint, do you know that out of the many people, I believe the count is up, there were 7 billion, there's 7 billion people in the world, however many people it is in the world, out of all those people, there's not one other person that has your fingerprint. Not even your identical twin. Not even your biological mother. Not even your biological father. You and you alone, not your children. You and you alone have your unique fingerprint.
Amen.
And so you, my brothers and my sisters, have your unique composition. And God has crafted you to be who you are.
Amen.
There's not another you anywhere out there.
Amen.
For some of us, for some of y'all, praise God. Amen. There's not another you. Brother, the world can handle more than one. Amen. There's not another you out there. There's only one of you, Trinity. Thank God. Only one. There's no more like you. God said no more after making her. I had to do that because I had a feeling when she was saying amen, she was directing it toward me when I said that there's no one else just like you.
Not at all.
So anyway, my brothers and my sisters, what I discovered then is that because God has uniquely placed his hands upon us and made and molded us and shaped and crafted us into who we ought to learn to be pleased with who we are and thankful to God. Why?
Yeah.
Because number one, watch this. We're born on purpose.
Amen.
That was your cue to shout when you just missed it.
Amen.
We are born on purpose.
Yes, sir.
So what that means is, watch this, 2 things at minimum. God does not make mistakes, And God does not make junk. Preach, Pastor Sanders. I'm doing the best I can. I just ain't feeling well right now. Amen. First of all, God does not make mistakes. Now, I know I'm someone sitting there saying, Pastor, I hear what you said, but I take issue with that because I was born as a result of molestation and or rape and or incest or whatever, physical abuse and sexual abuse. So my mom didn't want me and my dad didn't want me. They even tried to abort me and that didn't work. So no, Pastor, your statement is not accurate. I am a mistake. God did not want me to be born. Well, brothers and sisters, guess what? If God didn't want you to be born, then you wouldn't be here.
Amen. Amen.
Regardless if your mother and father were in love or not, regardless if your mother and father were married or not,
Preach.
regardless if it was consensual or not, the conditions that got you here may not have been the most ideal, but the fact that you are here is ideal. God ideally wanted you here, and so even through a bad situation, as bad and as unfortunate as rape and molestation and all that might have been, God says, I want you so badly that even out of a bad situation, I'm going to make something beautiful out of it. And so that right there, hopefully, ought to give you some degree of consolation to understand that God does not make mistakes. You are not one of those. I hear parents all the time talk about a particular child or one or a couple of their children and say, oh, that one was an oopsie. That was an oops baby. No, I ain't no oops baby. Amen. You may not have planned it. You may not have intended it to be so.
Come on.
God did.
Amen.
And because God did, that means God has a purpose. You were born on purpose, and it's not a result of a mistake. But watch this. Not only does God not make mistakes, God does not make junk.
Come on.
Amen.
So, whatever your condition is, because some may be saying, well, Pastor, I was born into poverty. Pastor, I was born with birth defects. Pastor, I was born with health ailments and issues, and Pastor this, Pastor that. You can begin to rattle off a long list of things that may be wrong with you or may not be desirous. Even though that is the case, guess what? God does not make junk.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Even with your seeming imperfection,
Yes.
God has still made a masterpiece
Amen.
in and with you.
Yes. Yes.
Friends, I need you to hear this today. You look marvelous on the inside and the outside. Maybe change your attitude a little bit.
Amen.
Maybe change your disposition a little bit.
Amen.
Look, on the inside and on the outside, you look marvelous, and God has created you, and you are born on purpose. Can I get you to be a part of the sermon today? Can you indulge me for a moment and just say, I'm born on purpose?
I'm born on purpose.
Just pat yourself. I mean, say it like you mean it. Say it with some pride and say, I'm born on purpose. I need you to hear that. I need you to grasp hold of that. I need you to receive that in your spirit, because at the end of the day, you are born on purpose. God didn't make no mistakes, and God didn't make no joke, and He made you for a reason.
That's right.
Which leads me to my second and my last point. Not only are you born on purpose, watch this, you were born with purpose. Yeah. You were born on purpose. He meant to do that. He meant for you to be here. He meant for you to be who you are. That was God's purposeful act. You were born on purpose, but God also says to you today that you are born with purpose. That right there ought to make somebody feel good, because somebody's been questioning their existence. Why am I here? For what reason do I exist? When I look at other people in my life and other people in my circle, they seem to have discovered their reason for being. They seem to be walking according to how they have been created, and they are doing great things. You know, one would conclude, for example, that Martin Luther King Jr., that he understood purpose, and he was born with a mandate and born with a task. So you can say he's someone special. He, lived his life and did something worthwhile. You can go down the list, Mother Teresa and whomever else, whatever name you want to plug in there. And you can look at your life and begin to compare your life with someone like them, or even someone a little bit closer to you, and say, they're doing the doggone thing. What about me? Friend, guess what? Your assignment may not be his assignment. His assignment may not be your assignment. Your assignment may not be mine, and mine may not be yours. But guess what? You have an assignment.
Come on.
Guess what? There is something uniquely purposeful for your life. God created you on purpose, and He created you with a purpose. Pastor, all that sounds good, but you don't know all the dirt I've done in my life. I've done some low-down things throughout the course of my life. I've hurt people, I've let people down, and I'm just not even happy with who I am. Surely God can't use and won't use me. Well, if God can use a murderer like Abraham,
Come on.
a liar like Abraham, if God can use a whoremonger like King David, if God can use Moses, when I said murderer, I meant Moses. If He used a liar like Abraham, if He can use a drunkard like Noah, if He can use someone who was a cusser, and someone who was packing like Peter, and someone who was messed up like Paul, and all the rest, if He can use all of these personalities, if He can use a harlot like Rahab,
Come on.
and she ended up being in the lineage of Jesus, if He can use individuals like them, then guess what? Surely He can use you.
Amen. Amen.
Surely He can use you. No matter what you've done, no matter where you've been, no matter what you've been through, guess what? He can, and He wants to use you. As a matter of fact, God specializes in using people that other people look off and write off and say, surely God can't use them. God specializes, and when He takes someone who was messed up, and when He cleans them up, and He props them up, and He begins to use them, then people can say, surely there is a God.
Yes, sir.
All my brothers and my sisters, I've stopped by on my way to heaven to tell somebody that God can use you no matter how jacked up and how messed up your life is. Let me share with you a little conversation I had with a young man probably 20 years ago. And I was talking to this young man. I was working at Boys Town, in particular at Flanagan High School. And I was assigned to work with some youth that many people had written off, and many people had said wouldn't amount to anything, and many people didn't want to invest in, and many people thought were no good, low-down teenagers. That's what God had assigned me. That's where my passion began for working with young people. And so as I was working with this one particular young man, this young man looks at me and says, Rev, I hear what you're talking. He says, but man, you have no idea what my life is all about. You don't know what I've been through. He says, look at you, man. You a Rev. You a pastor. I said, come here, young buck. Let me holler at you. That's my great-grandmama, Mama Emily, may she rest in peace. As she would say, let me learn you. So I said, come here, young buck. Let me learn you. I said, man, you don't want me to judge you. Don't judge me. You don't know me. You don't know my story. You don't know my life. But let me help you. Let me help you a little bit. I wasn't always a Rev. And let me tell you a little bit about what I've been through and what I've overcome to make it to where I am and who I am today. And after I began to drop it on that young brother, he opened up his mouth. He says, wow. He says, dang, Rev, I guess you do understand. I guess you can relate. And so my brothers and my sisters, when God can take your messed up, jacked up life and pick you up and turn you around and place your feet on solid ground and put His hands on you and work with you and get you to a point where He can use you, you can become such a great inspiration and or testimony to other people that may write you off thinking that you woke up like this. No, I didn't wake up like this. God made me like this. Why? Because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. He made me who I am.
Yeah.
And so, my brothers and my sisters, when I begin to think about how God, I got a greater appreciation for what God has done for me and what He has done for so many others when it comes to cleaning us up. So here's my real life scenario to help you understand. Many of you, this is your first time perhaps hearing this, but when I was a young man, I made some bad choices. Yes, I did. I made some bad choices, and I got caught up in the streets and with the streets and got caught up with the law. Don't look at me funny. You made some mistakes too. Don't look at me strange. You ain't got a clean past your doggone self. But I made some mistakes and found myself having a record and stuff like that and whatnot. But God got me, got a hold of me, got my attention, got me on the right path or a better path, because I'm still a work in progress.
Yes, sir.
Come on.
Yes, sir.
I'm still a work
Amen.
in progress. But I'm on a better path. And I'm a better person than what I used to be, and I'm better than who I used to be, and I'm trying to do more positive things with my life. And so on this better path, I distanced myself from my record. Watch this. But I still had a record.
Come on, come on.
Yeah.
And I found myself helping other people, in particular, folk who get out of jail or what have you. I found that being a passion of mine, working with ex-offenders and ex-gang members and folk like that and what have you. Found myself having this particular skill set and being successful in helping people to clean their lives up. And so I've been doing that for a number of years. And been helping people to clear their records. And one day, one of the attorneys said to me, they said, "Pastor, why have you never cleaned up your record?" They said, "You would be a prime candidate to get your records pardoned and written off. You've lived an exemplary life. You're a prime example of what it means to be rehabilitated and you've reduced recidivism and it relates to your own particular life. Why haven't you cleaned yours up?" And I thought about it, said I never even really paid much attention to it because I just lived my life. God has just opened doors for me. And so y'all began the process of clearing my record, and I cleared all my records, the traffic and everything, got those set aside, and got a pardon for my big records.
Amen.
Stuff that those simple set asides won't do no good. I got a pardon.
Amen.
Then my pardoning letter, the letter said, in part, "You have demonstrated the capacity to live as a responsible, law-abiding citizen." And we want to thank you for that, and we are happy and proud to give you this letter of pardon. No one's more deserving than someone that falls into your category. And this letter of pardon with the seal stated that all of my records from that particular period have been pardoned and no longer were being held against me. It was that helped me to better understand and better appreciate the pardon that God gives us
Yes, sir.
when we give Him our lives.
Amen.
Once we get saved, once we accept Him into our heart and ask Him to forgive us of all of our sins, what He does is He writes a letter and says, based upon the fact that Jesus Christ died on Calvary, it's not based upon your own ability, it's not based upon your own actions, it's based upon what Christ did on your behalf, because He did it on your behalf, and because you accept Him as Lord and Savior, He says, you have been pardoned. Your past is no longer held against you. Your past can no longer be used against you. You are free and clear. And so when we begin to think about that, we ought to rejoice. And we ought to thank God, because guess what? We look marvelous. Because of who God is and what He's done in our lives. We look marvelous on the inside and on the outside. And we were born on purpose, and we were born with purpose. We have been born, watch this, by design, and we have been born with He made you just the way that you are. Because you've been made by design.
Yes,
You've
sir.
also been made with a destiny.
Yes, sir.
And you have something to do in this world. So don't you leave this world without doing it.
Amen. Amen.
Don't you dare check out without first checking in. Don't you dare leave this earth, this side of eternity, without tapping into your purpose and being purposeful and doing what God has created you to do. When I die, I don't want to leave full.
Hey, say
I
that.
want to leave empty. I want to give myself. I want to pour myself out. Whatever you put in me, I want to give it back.
Yes, sir.
That's my challenge and charge to you. Don't you leave here. Don't you dare leave here without doing all that He's designed for you to do. And don't compare yourself to somebody else, because you're not to be looking at what he or she is doing. Look at what you are doing and what you can do, and do it. And at the end of the day, remember, you look marvelous. We receive that good gospel praise.